What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Daily Refinement Morning Mastermind Call. We do this every single day, weekday of the week at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, but Wednesdays it's live on YouTube. Today's topic is how to list more items. And Isaiah actually inspired this conversation yesterday. He was texting me saying that when you have a small listing goal and any method works, you kind of get stuck in that cycle and you don't think about the fact that you can do more. Like um, the fact that, before the call, we were talking about how tech and sports can do essentially 30 sets of photos in half an hour and 30 listings in half an hour. So 30 total listings photographed listed in including the put away in under 1 hour. And you don't think that that's possible in the beginning because you've been doing it however you were doing it. And if you're only doing 5 listings a day, if you take an extra hour per listing, you can still do 5 listings in 5 hours. But it's not until you start thinking more items, not because you need to sell more items, but if you think to yourself, is there a better way? And you start adjusting, improving. And that's what this group is all about, is thinking of a better way. Now, I got stuck in this trap in the beginning, which was there must be a different way. There's plenty of different ways to do it. Okay, but better means for you, you get more done in the same amount of time. That's really the definition. Are you making more money in the same amount of time? That's better. More time to be with your family, whatever you want to use that time for. That's what I want to talk about today. So I always talk about this every single week because it's been the biggest game changer for me. It's doing things all the way through. So at work now, I have 8 people who have the exact same job. Okay, they go to work, they prep the items that they want to list for the day. They list, they stream the items, they ship the items, and that takes 4 hours. And they repeat that process twice for 150 items per day. And the reason why I bring that up is one of the ladies that I have is really, really good, but doesn't do it all the way through. So for example, I recommend picking all the items, take a break, list all the items, take a break, stream all the items, take lunch. Stream all the items, then ship all the items, and then take lunch. Take lunch at the end of your 4-hour segment. And if you're working a half day, then just go home after that. Do the whole section in a row and then take a break. She's the only one that doesn't do that. It takes her an hour and a half longer than everybody else. And I kind of feel like making her sign a contract that says, I choose to be here an hour and a half longer than everybody else because I don't want to follow directions. And she's like, why do you care if it takes me an hour and a half? And I'm like, because your mental health and your life matters to me. You shouldn't be here an hour and a half longer. Why are you here an hour and a half longer than everybody else? There's no reason to be that. I don't want, somebody's going to say, wow, your boss is a jerk making you stay after. You should show them that piece of paper that says, I choose to be at work an hour and a half longer than everybody else for no reason other than she won't do it all the way through. She'll get distracted in the middle of picking. She'll leave and call a friend. And I'm performance based in my job. So it's like a, commission structure. So you can take longer. I just don't want you to take longer. One of the ladies is done 15 minutes early every day. And I'm like, just be her. Go home and call your friend. Why can't you be done 15 minutes early? She gets paid more per hour because she leaves 15 minutes early and you leave an hour and a half later and you have the same job. So like, please just do the task all the way through and then take a break. You could do it like me. And I demonstrated the process for everybody everyone that's worked for me. And it took 6.5 hours. So I'm like, okay, I'm building in an hour and a half break for you guys. I don't need a break. I can just do the whole thing through. I'm done for the day. I can go do something else. One of the ladies even asked me, do I need to tell you to take a break, or if I need to take a break? And I'm like, no, it doesn't matter. You can take your break or your lunch or go to the bathroom anytime. Just please do it how I recommend, because if you don't do it all the way through, it takes way, way, way longer. So, and I just want to point out that 150 items, 1 minute longer is 2 hours longer. It's 2.5 hours longer. So Isaiah, what's up? You're maybe on mute.
I know. I was expecting you to talk for like
No,
at
that's it.
least an extra minute, but you didn't.
No, that's
So,
it.
um, uh, can you like relate this back to us though? Because like
Yes.
sometimes it's difficult to like see it for real when you're talking through the lens of employees. You know, a lot
Okay,
of us
let's
are
talk
gonna
about it
do
for
the
me,
same
right?
thing with us. Yeah, go ahead.
In the morning when I hang out with my daughter, I try not to leave and go do something while I'm doing that.
Sure.
Or when I'm having dinner, I don't leave during dinner and go check my seller hub. That makes no sense. Just do like I think people take forever to do customer service because they don't do it all in a row. When I had 8,000 items, I had like, I don't know, 37 things to do in the morning. This is like, yeah, I'll tell you what they were in the morning. There were 37 things total of answering questions, managing cases, managing returns, sending invoices for unpaid items, send offers to watchers, relisting all the cancellations. Thank you to Brian for, I actually never did that before Brian told me to add that to my list. So this is one of those things that you would get from the call, right? So answer all questions, manage all my cases, manage the returns, send invoices to unpaid items, send offers to watchers, relist the cancellations, launch my drafts for the day, then check Seller Hub, which is not even necessary. You don't need to check Seller Hub. But I did those things, right? With 8,000 items, there's like 37 requests. It only took 7 minutes to do the whole thing. All my customer service and everybody here for sure has less than 37 things to do when they wake up, probably. And tech probably has hundreds of things to do when he wakes up in the morning, but it only takes a few minutes if you just do it all in a row. But imagine you have 37 things and you took a 2-minute break in between every single question. That's like hours to answer questions that are supposed to take you 7 minutes. Dishes, if you do your dishes all in a row, it takes 10 minutes. If you take a break or like you change the sponge or you go to the bathroom, it takes like an hour.
I believe that people might not have as strong of a concept of time as like you might be alluding to here.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, like if you take 2 minutes between each thing, then you make the process turn from a 7 minute process to an hour long process. But I
Yeah.
don't think people are noticing the hour long process. Maybe they're watching Game
Yeah.
of Thrones while
Well,
working.
and you unlocked it for me yesterday by saying if you're doing 5 a day, you wouldn't even notice.
You wouldn't.
You wouldn't even notice. You have
Yeah.
5 dishes to watch? No problem.
You
Whatever.
can do whatever.
You can make a sandwich after the first one, go to the
Yeah.
bathroom after the second one, call your mom after the third one. After the fourth one, you could do 10 push-ups. After the fifth one, you could finally be done. An
You
hour
might
could go
still
by.
be done in an hour. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying you have 4 kids and a husband that works from home. You might be doing dishes for 4 hours if you do it that way. It
For sure.
doesn't work.
For sure. My
Put
But
wife,
like
Chris,
good.
right.
I think the only way you can transition easily is like if you're almost like getting mentally prepared towards the end of completing the task to what you're going to do next.
Yeah, that's
Otherwise,
true.
you're pausing. You have to. It has to be like a transition. You can't just like drop it. Okay, I'm done. What's next? You almost have to like transition into it like flawlessly. It's
Yes.
like a transition.
So I was telling my workers, like if you do how I do it, it's like $50 an hour. You make 6 figures here, selling used clothes. If you do it how I do it, which is the whole thing is just one thing. Get the items ready, list it, stream it, ship it. That's one thing. It's not 4 separate things. You don't have to take a break. It's just that everyone keeps talking. Every person I've ever hired always asks, when are breaks, when are lunch, how many breaks can I have? I'm from a sales background. They don't care. You can not come to work and they don't care because you don't get paid. You want to not come? Go for it. You want to take 6 hour lunch? That's on you. It doesn't matter. But in the salary job, people ask, what's the least I could work and still work here? I'm here for 8 hours. If I work 2 hours, do I still have a job tomorrow? But anyway, the thing is that habit of doing it all the way through is a game changer. It's huge. Like we've been doing this call for 16 minutes. Marcus has been taking pictures the entire time. He hasn't taken a break because it doesn't make sense to do that when your listing goal is 30 or above. You can't do that. That's why I think that I was trying to dig out a shrub from my backyard, not even a tree. It was probably like 3 inches in diameter, right? And I had a dull shovel and a pickaxe. Those were my two tools to do it, right? It took like 4 hours and I didn't even properly do it. Wrong tools, don't know how to do it. So this is how people list, right? Wrong tools, don't know how to do it. Takes hours. And I took a bajillion breaks because I didn't know how to do it. I was like texting tech. I'm like, how long would this take you? He's like, 1 minute, because he has the right tools. First off, a dull shovel, that is horrible. A dull shovel and then a pickaxe, that doesn't make any sense for digging out the roots. Just might as well use my hands.
So do we need a schedule, Chris? Is that what you're saying?
Okay. Schedule, it helps because at least you're intentional. But the problem is it's the hours that are, when your listing goal is 5, you don't need a schedule. That's what makes it really tough, because you could start at 10 p.m. and be done by midnight.
Or you can not list.
Or you can not list.
Yeah.
Chris,
You can't make up 30 a day. Autumn is new to the group. So Autumn, if you came to if you had a 30 a day listing goal and then you missed a week, how are you going to make up 210 listings? That's not possible. But if you have a 1 a day goal, you could take off the first 29 days of the month.
Chris, you also need to know how to use the tools that you've got at hand.
That's true. That's true. Because there's somebody out there that only has a dull shovel that probably has a tree service. I don't know. Maybe he knows how to use it. Autumn, good morning. You're new. Why don't you tell us what you're working on and where you are in the process?
Hi, thanks for calling on me, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm new to the group, but I'm not new to reselling. I actually started in 2010 and sold full-time to 2015, and then moved, tried to bring on a business partner, did all the things at once that people say don't do, tried to grow too fast. But I was doing $10,000 a month by myself. Used clothes and shoes. I did men's and women's. Like to you, I'm an everything seller because I do men's, women's clothes and shoes, accessories, purses, all kinds of things. So I don't do hard goods or in linens or anything, but I'm back reselling. I've always kind of been on some platform. I started Posh in 2017, and this is my 4th month back. And I found you, Chris, a long time ago, but I kind of gave up on reselling, but I'm back what I call full time now. I'm only listing 7 a day. So I'm one of these baby listers like you talk about, but I'm here for time management because I work from home. I have my own hours and I want to get to 20 or 10 even, or 15. That to me, that seems like a really high amount. So you guys can use me as like a gauge, because I started at 5, went to 7. 50 items a week is a lot to process for me. I'm one of these people that moves a little bit slower, I guess, than other people. I don't know. I'm really trying to understand this 150 a day. Like, where do you steam? Where do you clean? How do you, I mean, it's like blowing my mind, but I've been watching you for about 6 months and I finally got myself on a really good schedule and I decided to join the group and I really want to take it to 15 a day. Like, I'm one of those people that you're laughing about right now that did a push-up, 10 push-ups, did one listing, called my mom, did another listing, like that was and I don't like that. I want to be able to do 15 in a day and like, 15, no problem. And I'm not there yet. I'm only at 7. So you can go with that as you wish, I'm not a new seller, but I'm new again to the but my account has like 4,000 feedback. So
do you mind sharing, this is a personal question, you don't have to answer, but so you have a full-time job. Do you also have household duties?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why time management is so hard, because I do have a consulting job that I do on the phones for 4 hours a day. So I have to fit that in and be focused, single focused. I can't photograph while I'm doing that. I can't list while I'm doing that. It's not like I can, and that's from 1 to 4. It's 3 hours a day, 1 to 4.
Okay. Why can you not photograph or list during that time?
Because I'm consulting and I'm helping people. And it takes my sole focus. It's person to person on the phone. And I have to review notes. I have to be giving them my full attention. They're paying me for that. So I also feel a little bit like cheating them if I'm not giving, like would you be doing your listing while you're doing this call? You know what I mean? It's like,
Well, that's exactly the point. How come people don't feel like they're cheating eBay or Poshmark or their customer on the opposite end by not reviewing their notes and paying attention during the listing and photo process? Because like that's the part that, so the lady that was taking an hour and a half longer, I'm like, I'm gonna take my whole day and just follow you. But I already know what's wrong. But let's go ahead and just try it. So when I was following her around, magically everything got done way earlier than it was expected. So 1 hour is recommended for listing 75 items, and she took 52 minutes yesterday. And I'm like, I'm watching you anyway. Today I'm just in front of you, but I can tell because everyone has a little station. And if you're not in your station during the time, I can tell because everyone is in a row. So like she takes breaks in the middle, but during your consulting job, it would not make sense in the middle of a client to say, you know what, I'm going to go put a load in. It doesn't make sense during a consulting gig. And this is, we talk a lot in the group about your family being supportive. I just released a video. I think the number one thing that makes people not list is motivation and support, but they don't need that for a regular job. Like people don't say, you know what, it's really hard to go to my 9 to 5 unless my family supports me. They don't, you just go anyway. And then they support you by trying not to bother you when you're at work. But if you don't do that with reselling and say, if you tell your family these 2 hours I'm not available and you're serious, they will take you seriously. If you don't take yourself seriously and you can say, these 2 hours I'm working on it, but you can still call me, then it just doesn't, it's not the same thing. You need to treat your reselling gig like your consulting gig. And eBay is the client, your customer is the client. And if you can do this, this is like major, major thinking change here. If you can treat your product like a customer, then that's good. Meaning like, okay, I'm selling this water bottle right now. How can I serve this water bottle justice by describing all the things about it so that people can, you are a beautiful water bottle. How can I help people find you? Right? This is an awesome removable cap. It's got a handle. It's made out of aluminum. It's double walled. It's the brand Swell. So I'll give you an example, Autumn. One of my ladies went to Vietnam for a month. She brought back 50 items from Vietnam. None of them had a brand. No brand. She sold the 50 items for $988. That's amazing. Okay, almost $20 an item, every single item unbranded. That's so hard. That's like style, cut, fit, material, how you can wear this, where you can wear it to, why I thought it was cool, why it's cute, why it's in this collection, why I'm cool, why you're cool, why the weather is awesome, why today is the best day. Really hard to sell an unbranded item for $20. It's not that easy. That's every single trick in the book to do it. Right. And so I gave her $600 for that stream. And I only made like $100 or something. She brought all of her own items. But I was just thinking that is so much care in the item and the customer and me. She's like, I don't want to inconvenience you, because she literally got hired and then took a month vacation. Right. But so she's like, I want to make it up to you. I appreciate your patience and flexibility. I had been planning this trip for the last couple of years. I really wanted to go, whatever. So she's like, out of respect for you, I'm going to make you some money. I'm going to acclimate myself back into the job. I'm going to showcase my selling skills, all that stuff. But like so much went into that versus like in between having a sandwich and going on a walk, I go into my closet and pull an item out from my death pile. That's like the effort level is so different. Harry, I'm telling you, that's how you do it. Every item is a beautiful item. How can I help people find you? If you can just look at it like that, and like, the best restaurants in the world that charge the most are farm to table. And what they try to do is not screw up the ingredient. The best ones in the world, like French Laundry, you want to go there? What's on the menu? What was grown on the farm today is on the menu tomorrow. And they just try to showcase what they have. It's nothing fancy. The restaurants where they try to do something fancy, those restaurants go out of business, except for Cheesecake Factory, for some reason still exists. I don't get it. That restaurant is crazy. You can't even eat there because there's so many people trying to eat there. You can't even eat there. That restaurant, mind blowing to me. Maybe that restaurant is, maybe it's people in the, there's so many squirrel brains in the world that that restaurant just seems so awesome that they can exist. But it doesn't make sense to me how they can be successful having 800 things on the menu. So that's my rant for the morning. I'm full. So Autumn, you want to get the 10 to 15 listings a day. What I recommend is just a block of time each week, because your schedule is 15 hours of consulting. If you're in this group, 15 listings start to finish, everything once you're in a niche will take 2 hours. So that's 14 hours a week. It's including everything. So that's just like you have 2 part-time gigs.
I have my inventory set up like yours. I have a photo station. I have everything set up. So I'm trying to refine my processes, as much as I can. And I'm rolling the item after I photograph it. It takes me like 5 minutes. It takes me about 7 minutes to do one item. And I'm like, what is this? 8 minutes. I timed myself and I'm like, wow, okay. Got to get this under 5 minutes, from all the way put away. So, and when do you steam? Do you steam your clothes? Do you clean them? When do you do all the prepping? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Where do I put that part in? Because I need another 2-hour block to do that.
Yep. So it's a good question. So items come in for me and I sell salvage items and I sell items at the flea market. So on Sunday, I go get all my items. I used to have to go home with all the stuff in my car, separate the stuff that needs to be laundered from stuff that doesn't. Most of the stuff that I buy at the flea market does need to be washed, but in the morning after I come back, I separate what does not need to be washed at home. And then now that I have a warehouse that's open 24 hours a day, I can do it there. So separate what needs to be washed, what doesn't need to be washed. What doesn't need to be washed gets folded flat on the ground or hung up. Then it doesn't require any steaming or and it doesn't need to be cleaned. If it doesn't need to be cleaned, it gets washed first and then hung up. Now, before I did hanging up, I just laid it flat on the ground. If you have a stack that's like a foot tall, you won't need a steamer. It'll get most of the wrinkles out if you leave it there for a day or two. Plus that pile, if you can set it up so that's your list from pile the following day. So you go there and those items have been sitting there overnight.
I see. Mm-hmm.
Then there wouldn't be a thing. Mandy, what do you mean?
Oh, she was asking, she needs a block for cleaning, like a block of time, 2-hour block of time for cleaning. You multitask, you put them in the wash and you're photographing and listing. You don't need a block just for cleaning.
That's true.
Like your block is like 5 minutes putting it into the washing machine. That's it.
That's fair. Yeah, you could have like if your day was, so I like to do reset the zero at the end of the day. So it would make sense to do wash and dry earlier in the day, photograph and list at the end of the day, take stuff out of the dryer, and put it flat on the ground so that it de-wrinkles overnight. Women's clothing is a little bit more challenging. So I have a Jiffy steamer right at the station and it works pretty quick. That's another reason when I switched to hanging, because it's easier.
The other thing is that it was epiphany with me when tech and you were like, it's good enough. Like you don't have to be the perfect steaming, the perfect laying, the perfect picture, the perfect everything. We're selling junk on eBay. Let's be honest. So good enough. I used to be the one with clothing that would have everything perfectly on a mannequin, perfectly everything. I wasted so much time.
Sweaters and dresses and things, because I'm picking up women. I was doing a lot of sweaters during sweater season and none of them could be washed. A lot of them were cashmere and sometimes from the bins, those kind of things. So I'd get piles of sweaters and they get on the wash. So
I'm not an expert in that, but Thomas in the group is. And there's a lot of things that say dry clean only that you can just throw in the wash. I don't know which ones they are though. So typically when I'm getting an item like that, I'm just telling people this is a used item and the condition is as is, and I didn't wash it. But I understand your concern. A dress usually is fine, but sweaters are tough because you really need to know how to care, and maybe you need to be like Thomas and grow up on a sheep farm.
Chris, I'm Thomas
Yep.
kind of coaches me. Go on, just save yourself some time. Go to YouTube. They're going to tell you to wash it in shampoo, block it. It can be done. Just go to YouTube and say how to take care of cashmere. I'm even patching holes in cashmere now, and it's easy with the right tools.
Yeah, Thomas is around. He's our resident sheep farmer. So he literally knows every single wool and why it's valuable. So it's really
I
cool.
sell a lot of vintage wools like Harris tweeds and Shetland wools from Ireland. And like I buy those things because I've made hundreds of dollars on things like that before.
I love it. Yeah, that I didn't realize how much of a noob I am to the clothing category until I heard him talk about fabric. Because it's insane that he knows a lot about fabric and why some fabric is worth more and how to care for it. And he's tested washing different kinds. And it made me realize there's a lot more to selling clothing because the shape, fit, fabric, content, logo. And also, this is interesting, Autumn. When we started this group a couple of years ago, it also made me stop trying the stuff on. Because when Tech said that, like, how come this shirt is the same shirt as this other shirt, but this shirt's worth $800 more? It's literally nothing different except for the brand part. So you can appreciate the clothing more, which makes you, in my opinion, not care about finding a cool brand, because it's sometimes about the fabric. And Carol, yeah, Thomas, I don't know the Thomas, there's a Thomas and Michelle fabric call where he goes over the different fabrics. I'll find it.
I sell a lot of men's suits and blazers. That's how I keep my price per item up, because I just sold an $80 men's Amarilla Zango blazer that was a size 50 large. And so it was a $90 blazer, or it's a $500 blazer. So I got $90 for it because it's a very large size. So I sell a lot of blazers. I'm addicted to selling men's clothes and men's blazers and suits. So
we have Ray in the group is one of those higher end men's suit sellers. So nice. Ray has an average sale price of $90.
Wow.
And it's probably his buy cost is probably 10. He's in California too. In California, the blazer suits are about $10 at the thrift store. And let's see. So his buy cost is 10. His average sale price is about 90. And he sells maybe 3 to 4 a day. It's not a huge business. And his listing goal is only 5. So you can go that route of like very high end, great photos. I'm going to show you guys an example because it's cool.
And I only have 365 items in my store, so I'm actually like very new. Because I hear you guys with your 1,500 items and Tech with his 50,000. I'm like, what? I thought a 500 was a lot.
Yeah. It's really incredible.
Nice.
So like if you decide to sell this high-end stuff.
Oh, I sell this kind of stuff all the time. The Allen Edmonds. Yeah. Zanga. This is the blazer I sold for $80. But see, I'm selling it for a lot less than he is.
Yeah. And in the examples of the attention to detail with so for example, it does make sense to steam, show a close-up of the button, stage it on a mannequin, provide 10 measurements, go all the way, Photoshop the background. Brian and Matt and Ray, they use strobe lighting to create this really, really soft, because this is a very hard item to photograph, in my opinion. It's very dark. If you try to take this picture without being a professional, it does not look like this, and you cannot ask $300 for it, right? So this is a 10 out of 10 experience for the buyer. But to give you guys an example, Brian takes, Brian can do 6 listings an hour. So it takes a full 10 minutes to do one listing, which is 5 times longer than the way tech does it, but it's different. It's a different strategy. And then the company measurements. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 9 or 10 measurements per item, right? Close up, like the blown up photo of every single thing, making sure it's perfectly parallel. This is like world-class experience for the buyer, right? You're here, you're like, I trust you, let's do it. 100% positive feedback. That's like all of the things that, when I said this is a beautiful water bottle, how can I find people? How can I help people find you? This is the example of like all of the effort, but you have to like really ask a lot of money, over $100 to really justify that. And also the sell-through rate on a store like this is between 5 and 10%. So
My store right now is at 14%. I just calculated my sell-through rate. One of my reseller friends helped me figure out the numbers, and I have a really high sell-through rate. It's just that I want to list more because I can't seem to get past 50 items a week.
Okay.
I'm
Also,
gonna do 105, like you say, the 105 number, that magic
105 number is great. That's 15 a day. And I think that's a 2-hour day for you once you're fully optimized. And yeah, I think the people that have the 5 to 15 goal that sell 5 to 15 a day, which are in the reseller nirvana, their average selling price is $30 or above. Those people are perfectly set up to scale. So once you figure out how to do 15 in 2 hours, okay, now I could do 30 if I want to. If I don't want to do consulting anymore, I could do this 4 times and do 60 a day. Yes. So it just starts with that first 15 and 2 hour block. And what Isaiah said yesterday that really struck me was, if you don't have to do it faster, maybe you don't. And every idea sounds like, if the idea sounds like it's hard, then people don't do it. Versus if the idea makes it better, they do it no matter what.
That's what I'm trying for, is because I know my time management could use some. So I want to double what I'm doing in 3 months, let's say.
Okay. So this is a really great opportunity to time yourself. And you can share with the group how many items you're doing, how long it takes, and then check back in a week, write down what's going on, what takes longer, what doesn't. Yeah. And then all the things for time management matter a lot. Like me having, there's the lady that's done early eats the same lunch every day. So she's like, I eat the same lunch every day, but I can have whatever I want for dinner. That kind of makes sense to me, right? Because she's done early and actually has a life. And she has a ceramics business that she does on the side. So she works for me, and she also has a ceramics business, and her time is really scheduled. She has she works 7 and 3/4 hours with me, eats her peanut butter sandwich, coffee, tea, goes home, does her ceramics business. She also has a dog that gets walked right when she gets home. Her dog's name is Peter. Like the whole thing is like organized. But does people who are listening right now, do you guys hate that her life is structured? Because I got a lot of hate on my last video about that. Like, I don't want to live such a structured life. But I'm just thinking, I have everything, but my life is structured. When it wasn't structured, I didn't have a lot of the things that I wanted. So I don't know. Is it robotic, or is it the only way? I don't know. Also, Isaiah, I got a thought for you. Yesterday, people were saying, well, when can I enjoy my life? When can I start enjoying the fruits? So I was reading some articles yesterday trying to find the answer to this, and I think I have an answer. And this should help everybody list more, which is the goal of today's topic. In the beginning, I didn't get this advice as a kid, but my wife did. Her parents told her save half your money, live on half your money. I got it's America, you get whatever you want now. So her habit was better from the beginning. But once you start making like 70K a year, you don't need to spend half of your income, right? So the rule, I think this is an easier way of thinking of it. When people retire, which is the finish line, right? A lot of people eventually want to retire. There's like this thing called the 4% rule. So if your annual expenses are under 4% of your net worth or asset or income producing assets, you're officially retired and your nest egg will never shrink. So if you have $1 million in there and it makes $40,000 a year and you spend less than $40,000 a year, you'll never run out of money until you die. That's the goal. So I was reading this article and it said that once you start making over 70K, a lot of people slow down their goal and it starts to become not as cool. But the thing that doesn't affect your net worth for the enjoyment part is 4%. So as an example, if your net worth is $1 million and you're spending $40,000 a year already, then you're still enjoying yourself, but you're not messing up your financial goal. So I think that if everyone can think that way and just be a little bit patient, everyone in this group can be a millionaire in 5 to 7 years. If you just, I didn't know this when I started. So I hope everyone's listening. If you can just be patient for 5 to 7 years and roll the money back in, it'll be really big. So there's 2 ways of doing that. You can do what Tech did, and he is the guy that we use as a milestone in this group. He doesn't continuously increase his listing goal. He was talking about yesterday. He keeps it the same and takes the money out of it to invest in other things. So if everyone can just do that for 5 to 7 years, and your listing goal is at least 15, you'll have at minimum 6 figures in savings. You can just follow that and just be patient. And then you can enjoy yourself for the rest of your life and not have to worry about it. So, yeah, it just made me really think. I think everyone should also write down all their expenses, what everything costs, how to save a little money here and there, because that speeds up the process. You want to get rid of everything that's not necessary. That's how you list faster. I guess we could ask Sandra. Sandra, good morning. You're kind of in a groove now with your schedule. If you wanted to increase your listing goal, what would you have to do different?
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, I still feel like I'm an infant. You know how we talked about that. Like I'm still learning how to roll over, but I am trying to increase my listing goal. So the things I'm doing right now, so I list about 20 a day. But I want to get to 30. And so the first thing is finding those items. So that's right, sourcing the right item, because I think before I was listing 20, but they weren't all the greatest item, right? Because when I was outsourcing, I didn't have my categories solid. And then I was more about like, oh, I just need 20 items, not per day, right? Not, I need the right items. So now what I'm trying to do is source more. So I went from sourcing 2 days a week to 3 days a week, and I'll source 4 days a week if I need to find, enough items. I process all my items the day I get them. So take all the tags off, sort them, wash what I need to. So those are some late nights, but it helps because then I have everything ready to list in the morning. And then like I already listed my goals for today, but on my back desk, I have everything ready to list. So now if I want to list 5 more per day, I just add 5 more to my stack and I organize it by category, right? So if I'm just doing shorts, I have all my shorts together and then I have all my pants together, like that. And so I prep the night before. That's what I'm doing now. So before I was prepping, like 20. So now I'm just going to prep 25. And then in the morning, I'm ready to go, right? So I don't just stop and leave like 5 on my desk. I just process 25. And then the other thing I'm doing is I'm I'm changing my whole shipping station so that right now my shipping station is awful. I have my scale is on one side of my room. My printer is underneath my desk. So it's ridiculous. So customer service is super fast, but shipping takes way too much time. So I'm just looking for like, where am I wasting time, or where can I, just pull time back? And then, and I am doing it in 2 sets, right? So I do my minimum, which is 20 before this call. And then before I go sourcing, I will do anything left that I have for my goal. But I really believe it is about like knowing your category. Like you have to know your category and not like I was all over the place. I was squirreling all over the place with what I was going to buy. But when you know your category, then the listing's super fast. Because I thought when I first heard tech talk about, and you too, Chris, talking about listing like under a minute, I was like, well, that takes me like 10 minutes to list each item. But by really like dialing it in on the categories, I can list in like 45 seconds. It doesn't take long. If I don't know if I don't know the item, I have to research it. But now I'm like, take the time, research it, learn it. Like, I really think it's all about knowing what your brands are. And, like you said about doing justice to your water bottle.
Yeah.
It really is. I told you I built this collage. It's above my desk. It's on my phone. It's on my computer. It's my like perfect customer. And that has truly helped like dial it in. So every week I am trying to get more niche down so that the listing, like the daily activities, right? The listing, the photographs are very streamlined, and that gives me more time to go source and have, more products to put on my site. And then I still list every day. So right now I would love to get to 5 days a week, but I'm not there yet. So I'm listing 7 days a week and building up my draft bank, all of that. So at some point I'll get down to 5 days, but I'm still growing.
Okay, Sandra, I appreciate you sharing that. And I think I have an idea. So you mentioned that it takes longer if you don't know more about the item. So I'm just going to use an example here since people like the water bottle example. On a normal item, there's probably between 5 and 15 item specifics. Okay, so the more that you know the item specifics, right, you can help people find your beautiful thing, right? So if you know all the item specifics in your category and you have the widest, deepest item specific Rolodex, then you don't have to look up all of the different items. But here's an example. This is why clothing is so difficult. There's actually around 20 item specifics per garment. It's like neckline, shoulder line, just the shape of the garment, the fabric, where it's made, brand, styles, the stripe, is it not? There's so many different ones, right? With the water bottle, we could probably think of all of them right now. Does it have a handle? Is it a removable cup or top? Is there a straw? What's it made out of? Can you is it made in the USA? People care about that. Can you dishwash it? So like here, this is made out of aluminum. So maybe thumbs up. It's not dishwasher safe. So thumbs down. Right? You have all these things that are going for it or not going for it. This has Uline on the bottle, which makes the value go down. Right? But if it said Supreme, it would make the value go up. Right? So this is like a good example of like thinking about how all the item specifics affect the price of the item. And so you mentioned 45 seconds to list an item. Everybody heard that, right? That means 45 seconds to go through the item specifics required in your brain. That's what you're doing. So when I noticed a couple of things about text listing process. One, he is just updating the item specifics. That's why it's so fast. His listing
Yeah.
process is like 23 seconds because he's not creating a new listing. He starts with one that's similar and then he updates the 10 to 15 item specifics that are on the listing, but oftentimes if it's similar, he's only updating 3 or 4 of the 15 total item specifics. And Levi in the group posted a really awesome screen share. And he said that on polo shirts, he updates the least number of item specifics. So that makes it the fastest. So listing fast is an item specific game.
I think the thing that's tripping me up right now is one is the label and whether it's vintage or not. And I'm not out looking for vintage items, but I picked up a really basic Gap windbreaker, which I thought, it was like a blue windbreaker. There was nothing interesting about it at all, other than it was super clean. It looked like it had never been worn. But when I went to do comps, the windbreaker was selling for like $60 or $80. And then that led me to like, why is this an $80 item? But it was a vintage tag. And so, I had to do some research to figure out like this item I would have sold for $15 or $20 it just sold this morning for $65. And then another t-shirt I got was, it was a really basic, like gray Lobos. So I live in Albuquerque. So it was a University of New Mexico Lobos t-shirt, but it was like a really nice quality. And then I looked at the tag and it was a starter tag, which I remembered from Tech's video on hats. Mm-hmm. Starter is such a great label. And so I listed it higher than it would have been like a $15 t-shirt, but I listed it higher and I already have people saving it into their watch list. And so I think it's like those specifics. I'm realizing you really do have to know like not just Ralph Lauren, right? But even the Ralph Lauren, I watched Tech's video about brands, and it's so much more than Ralph Lauren. But we have a Ralph Lauren outlet in our city, and my own son is like, "You should get the big polos, Mom, the one with the big horse." I'm like, "How do you know that?" And I don't. I had to watch it on a video, right? Like I had to hear Tech say it. Yep. And it made me realize how much I have to learn about these categories to make that fast, right? So those specifics, you're like, oh, I recognize that tag. So I think that's where I can improve my space a lot.
This is so interesting. I did a video at the Ralph Lauren outlet. And I say Ralph Lauren because I think it sounds fancier. So like when I went there, right, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get the big polo. I'm gonna get the polo bear. I'm gonna get the big bright patterns. I'm gonna get the ski gear, outerwear, and just to test myself, I was like, okay, I think I already know lots of the soles, not as much as I'm not a Ralph Lauren expert by any means, but I'm gonna try to get all the items in the store that I think are valuable first, and then double check. See how good I am at picking out styles that are good. I sold them on Whatnot. This is very interesting. Because Whatnot is a really interesting platform that'll give you sort of the cash value of the item plus your hype. So if you don't have any hype, you'll just get the cash value of the item. Ideally, like if you went on to so let's say a Ralph Lauren sweater, the polo bear sweaters are like $300. On eBay, they probably sell for $90. At the outlet, if it's 50% off of 50% and the spring clearance deal or whatever, you can get it for $60. So you get this $60 sweater, it sells for $90 on eBay. If you're on Whatnot with no following and you just have that polo bear sweater for sale at $65, buy it now, and you show up enough times, people will just buy it because that's a reasonable amount. They could wear it or have it and then resell it and get their money back. That's like right at that level. The outlet game is challenging but now that you know that, you're like, okay, you know what? I have to stack all these sales to make it worth it. And then when you go home and list that sweater for $90, there's 8 other people who have that same sweater and $90. So it makes it a little bit difficult to maneuver. So you end up seeing, in this example, sometimes people sell that sweater for $80 or $75 just to get their money back and try again. And that outlet model is very, very, very capital intensive. You can do it. There are plenty of examples of people I know that spend 50 grand to make 5, but that's really interesting. It's not very much listing. People that don't like listing, you could go there, buy 10 of those sweaters. Actually, I think 10 is the maximum of each SKU. So you could buy 10, go to your car, have lunch, do some homework, come back when they switch shifts, get 10 from a different worker. Now you have 20. And it's really expensive, but you can do that and you have to wait. You have to be the last person to sell it. Also, there's been some people in the group that have gotten letters from Ralph Lauren. If you sell too much brand new, they don't like you.
Yeah, and it's all about timing too, right? Because not only do you have to get the sales, you have to sign up to be a member, so you get their special discounts. You have to stack all that. Then you have to make sure that they let you stack all that at the register. It really is, like, it is such an art, I think, to be able to go to those outlet malls and make a profit off of it. That's my goal though for the summer, is like we're getting right into spring, so all of their winter stuff will soon be on sale, and it's an hour away from me, so it's not like I can just run over there at the drop of a hat. But I do think there's an art to it, and I do want to try that this year. That'll be on my list.
I've talked to so many outlet people over the years. It's been very interesting listening to them. And I tried it for fun with the Yankee Candle outlet, because I used to live by an outlet. And the major one that people go to is the Simon. If you guys have a Simon mall near you, those ones you can get Simon Simon gift cards. So if you can buy, your mall has a gift card that can essentially allow you to be a little bit more anonymous, because they don't want to sell $50,000 worth of stuff to Autumn. That makes the manager like high risk to get fired. But if you go and buy $50,000 worth of Simon gift cards, and they don't know who it's sold to corporate wise. So there's ways to balance it out, because like essentially you need help. You cannot do the outlet unless the people that work there know you, because you can't buy enough volume before they stop you. So there has to be like a connection where you're going every single day, and it's like, hey Sandra, you're here for the 4th time today. And they just sort of like allow you to sort of be in the gray area of buying a lot. But it's very difficult. You can do it, and I think that plenty of people do it, but you should pick 1 or 2 brands.
Yeah, for sure. I'll let you know how it goes this summer, because that's just my one-off thing. It doesn't really fit into my general model, but it is an opportunity I have locally. So, but I agree. I think it takes a ton of strategy, and you've got to do the math beforehand. You can't go get something on sale and then hope that it's going to work out, because it's too much of an investment up front.
That's right. I love it. Everybody, that's really, really useful to me, thinking about how to, and so all the item specifics we're talking about, it's an item specifics game. So 10 to 15 item specifics. And when you start to specialize, you already know 12 of them. So when you go to the thrift store, you're only looking at 3 different item specifics. You already know 12 of them. It helps a lot, just being able to pick certain things. So like my friend Prince, when he sold GoPros, he only sold 6 different items. GoPro 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's it, right? He could tell you, this one's got a little scratch on it, it's worth $10 less. This one is in perfect condition but has no box, it's worth $5 less. Because there's only so many variations of 6 things. He could there's like pictures of him on Instagram opening them up, and he opens it up, he's like, this is burnt out, I can fix it. He fixed GoPros in the beginning of his career to figure out what was wrong, what was not. He cold called every single pawn shop in America and said, do you have any GoPros? I can pay this much for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll PayPal you the money, email it to me. and he got thousands of GoPros doing it that way. Then he eventually became an authorized distributor of some of the parts, and then switched to Newegg after, because he got suspended on eBay for growing too fast. So great cycle to learn from, but I think now that we think about this item specifics thing, that's what the group is for. Join. There's a college level course on women's clothing in the group. You can just type in, what is the guide that we have in the group? I guess you could just type in guide and or look in the file section. We have a college level course on clothing literally in there. And it'll teach you all the different collar lines, sleeve shapes, dress shapes, fabrics. But now I'm thinking the item specific game is what makes you up there. So I asked Tech, what is your skill level in vintage clothing? And he said 10 out of 10. But what that means is he knows all the item specifics for every single category, all the history, all the brands, all the colors, all the shapes, all the labels. And he's, this just that just comes with time. But I think that it's been the last couple of weeks, like the toy guys in the group have really been on it. Like, guys, we need to do better because there's way less item specifics in toys. Some toys only have 5 item specifics. Cause like I tried to list an ambulance in the group, and it was like, I have no idea. The bottom of the ambulance had like 2 words on it. I typed the 2 words in and the exact ambulance showed up with just 2 words. So it was amazing. Then somebody did a Garfield, and then somebody in the group said, what if you don't know it's a Garfield? And then Tech was like, can you type in orange cat? And it came up. It was amazing. Orange cat pulled up Garfield. Sandra.
I was just going to say one more thing is I think I could not have done this without this group. I really couldn't. I mean, I've been trying to figure out reselling for a year, and it really was this group and all of the knowledge, your knowledge, Tech's knowledge, Mandy's knowledge, right? All of us staying focused, like stay focused, get back to being focused. But I think that it's like such a dominoes effect, right? Because you can't list more if you don't source more, and you can't source more if you don't sell more. And so like you have to get those details right. And you just have to stop and fix it. That is the one thing I've learned is spend as much time as you can absorbing the knowledge from all the videos and the team and these conversations, but then apply it and stop and fix it. And that probably was the first month I was here, was fix your photo booth, fix it again, fix it till it's right. And then it's done, right? And then that part you have down. But I just want to, shout out to the team and to you, Chris. I'm like Mandy, I came here because of you and watching you on YouTube for, 6 months. But then really learning about everybody in the group and what we do. And those item specifics are the only, you can't list more if you can't list fast. I mean, that's just like, there's math, right? Like you only have so many hours in the day. And so if you don't know your category, then you cannot list fast because you're spending all your time going back and fixing things or seeing something you missed or looking it up. And so I think like to learn your category, you have to slow down but then learn it, right? So I just want to say thanks. It's literally I'm on month 3. I've never had sales every day. Now I have sales every day. I've never had, the growth that I've had in just 3 months. So I can already see by the end of the year, it's going to be a significantly different store than I have today. I mean, there's no way around it because it's going in the right direction, which is up.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, the amount of information is a little bit overwhelming sometimes, but I think that figuring out that it's just an item specifics game is really important. So I want to share one more thought and then we'll switch to the beginner call. every 2 to 3 years, eBay messes up and they lose all the pictures or all the item specifics or something like that happens. Some catastrophic error happens in their cataloging system and item specifics get screwed up. And it's all the rage on YouTube every time that happens. Here's the thing that's interesting. If you are an item specifics expert, it only takes you 1 day to fix it. You can go through and be like, you know what, they changed this. And now on jeans, they require you to put boot cut or flare or skinny or cigarette or ankle jeans, whatever. They have this new required item specifics. eBay, those jerks adding that. Do people even care? There's like all this crazy stuff. But if you are an expert, you can go through in 1 day or 1 hour and then just add that item specific to every single one of your items. Or maybe you even added it in the non-required ones earlier because you're an expert, and you'll be crushing it for like a week while everybody panics and doesn't know how to do it. So that always happens on eBay, where they will mess up the item specifics and lose everything, or pictures. But if you're an expert, it doesn't take very long to fix it. So whenever you hear complaining, that's the best time to go on and start listing, because everybody's taking a 1-week vacation. You'll see that. Like somebody posted on Instagram, what if there's no such thing as summer slowdown? There's just seller slowdown. But what if during the summer, sellers don't have to have an income break? They can just list different things. I don't know. It's wild. People like to take vacations in the summer too. But that's it for the morning call, guys. We're going to switch to beginner call. Appreciate everybody in YouTube land. This is what we do